Just fair warning, we need to be physically out of here by 9 p.m. So we're a time box tonight. So, Lisa, if you want to do
Yes.
call order.
Rosanna Glenn,
Here.
Shannon Hughes Brown,
Here.
Matt Blanchett, Ken Cleveland,
Here.
Ken Jackson,
Here.
Blaze Messenger,
Here.
John Post,
Here.
Heather Jacobs,
Here.
and Jessica Lee. And then I have.
Yeah, Jess is on the phone.
Jessica's on the phone, yep.
Jess is on the phone.
Yep.
I was just gonna text her.
Dr. Macri, Ms. Pochiola, Matt, okay. Annalisa Fuentes. Here. Ron Rickey. Here. Joe, Culata. Here. Joe Costa.
Here.
Lauren Giamondo. Here. Lindsay Halligan. Here. Mike Berger.
Here.
And Tom DeMaro.
Here.
Did I miss anyone?
Okay, thank you. So we did not update the agenda since our last meeting. So have there been any changes or anything anyone wanted to include that we didn't include already in the agenda? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Ken. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Blaze. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Anyone abstaining? Motion carries. Okay. Approval of minutes for June 22nd. You should have all received a copy of those. Any discussion? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve them. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Ken. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. All in favor, say aye.
I
All-
abstain.
Okay, thank you. You abstain?
I abstain.
Abstain. I approve. You were there, but you can't vote. You don't vote today. Okay. All right, next. Public comments. Anyone here for public comments? Okay. Any submittals?
No.
Okay. Okay, my update. Gosh, so much has gone on, but not a lot's gone on. So the biggest thing is, and excuse my lisp, I just had hardware installed in my mouth, so trying to speak around it. We did have 2 planning and zoning meetings within the last 2 weeks. Our first one was on July 6th. We met with them. They had some really great questions. Some questions we actually weren't prepared for because we didn't even think of it. So we went back last night and we provided the answers to those questions. They had additional questions. We provided answers to those questions. It went really well. We did get their approval. There were some, what's the word they used? Conditions. Thank you. I was thinking of that. There were conditions. And I have them here. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters submitted by town officials that we need to ensure we include. Any changes made to the site plan after yesterday would have to go back to planning and zoning. So anything we want to change, if we want to change the size of the parking lot, if we want to change like number of trees or whatever fencing, we'd have to go back. There was one change to the site plan as presented that was approved last night. That's different than what we presented, and that is on the east side, the fencing, instead of the chain link with the slats, it's just going to be plain vinyl coated chain link fencing. No privacy. And the reason for that was that they had a huge concern with, I guess they're using that slatted fencing in some complex on 372, and it looks like garbage, according to them. So they didn't want that to be the situation for us as well. So they said just use plain chain link fencing, which they were more than happy to do that because it's much cheaper, I would imagine. So good to go there. Other conditions, construction, parking, and traffic flow will have to be modified as needed per the town staff. So police department, fire department, any of them have issues, we'll have to work with them. Any construction changes to security features would have to go through the Board of Education, so it's in their court. Any police traffic control could be required by the Board of Education. Oh, so I think that has to do with if there's issues with construction traffic on site during school, then the BOE would have to address that. And then the letters. And that's it. That's all I captured. So we'll go through the minutes and use the minutes as our official list, but just to give everyone who wasn't there last night an idea of what happened. And again, they asked a lot of good questions. I was happy that they really thought through it and went through the plans. We got good letters from all the town officials, and want to thank them for putting all that together really quickly. I know we're on a short timeline. So I was happy to have all that. Some of the questions that I think we do need to address still is the Watrous Park Road. We had a good discussion last night about all of the construction traffic going up and down Watrous Park Road, especially, I mean, not especially, actually all year round, because even in the summer, especially in the summer, you have a lot of kids using the park. During the school year, it's actually probably more quiet because the kids are in the school, they're not at the park. So we just have to be really mindful about what we're going to do, what can we do, or maybe have discussions with the police department about like what can we do to just increase safety on that road. Maybe it's adding some like mirrors or signage or, slow down or speed, whatever, something, just to make sure that we just think through that a little bit better and make sure we're safe about it. The other thing that we did get confirmation with was the softball field orientation and removal of the fence. So that was settled. So it aligns with what the site plan is. Nothing changed there. It was final conclusion on that. So that's good. They also removed a bunch of trees on the parking lot from many of you saw it. So I know we had talked about, do we need all these trees in the parking lot? They actually removed 2 of the islands, or asked for 2 of the islands removed between the first and second meeting, and some of the trees were removed. And I'm sure they're going to go, I think we're going to go through any of those changes tonight, so I'll save it for that. That's pretty much it. So that was a big accomplishment. And that's all I had. Communications.
So our next communications subcommittee meeting will be next Thursday, the 27th at 6 p.m. in the Arch Room at Town Hall. At that meeting, we're going to talk about kind of a next phase of our communication strategy as we move into construction, thinking through how do we educate the community about site plan, as traffic patterns change, things like that. We'll also use that time to start talking about a groundbreaking ceremony, which is very exciting. And then in addition to that, we're just continuing our regular cadence of newsletters and town council and Board of Education reports.
Just a note on the groundbreaking. We should get the PTO involved.
Okay.
If we want to do any kind of fundraising for the event. I'm not sure what we're thinking. Joe, you had some good ideas last night about what other towns have done. I like the idea of incorporating the children. So if we can do an event with the kids, maybe have representatives from each class come up, say something, try to make it like a community event. Whether we do it during school hours, after school, I don't know. We'll work with that with you, but I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
It'll be in January. It'll be cold. Let's try not to do it during a snowstorm. Or not. Or not. Maybe warm. I know. All right.
Sounds good. Yeah, and we love any ideas. Please send them our way.
Yeah. Design subcommittee. Heather.
Okay, so after the last full committee meeting, I did follow up with the police department, and while the chief of police did like the idea of egress from the windows, if code only allows for a 4-inch opening, it does not provide egress. So that point is irrelevant. There were no other concerns for us, other than for us to follow up with the fire marshal to make sure we were following code, which I'm sure the design team is on top of. So at this time, I would recommend that we remove the operable windows from the new school to realize the value management savings, since it seems to have there seems to be no reason to keep them as
Okay.
operable.
Let's bring that up during 8A, because we can vote at that point under the Perkins
Okay.
Eastman
Yep.
report.
And then I have last week, but it was actually 3 weeks ago. I forget the date. It's a blur. The design subcommittee met with the Perkins Eastman design team, Mike, Lauren, and Lindsay, to go over interior palettes, material options, and some exterior options. So I do have the design subcommittee recommendations. So I don't know if we want to go through those now or if we want to do piecemeal when they're presenting, so it matches with their
Yeah, why
presentation.
don't we do it during the presentation as you bring up something, the options you provide what the recommendation is.
Okay.
Right, we have updated renderings, so.
Awesome. Okay.
That was it.
That's it. Very good. All right. Perkins Eastman.
So we have a quick planning zoning update, design update with overall construction document update, exterior and interior materials, our schedule update, meetings and data gathering, and next steps. So updated site plan. This is based on comments that we received during the planning and zoning meetings and from the comments from town staff. So these blue asterisks show the areas that have been modified. So first one, as was mentioned, the interior islands were removed. Richter and Segan expanded these end islands to be bigger to keep the impervious surface relatively the same, and this is to make snow plowing easier. Areas here, this one, that spot, trees were removed so to give snow storage areas, and then curb cuts were provided here to give additional snow storage areas as well. Same thing with the Board of Ed. So that island was removed, this one was enlarged, and this island here around the bus loop was enlarged. And then 2 gates were provided here, again, for snow storage purposes.
Joe, can you get closer to the microphone, please,
Oh.
just so we make sure people home can hear that? Thank you.
Back here, the fire marshal requested that the emergency access was brought to this corner of the building. And then a backup area here was provided, so this will be reinforced turf. And then the amphitheater, which was going to be an alternate, is going to be part of the base project now. And then it'll be a deduct alternate to provide lawn and just the walk here. And the fire marshal also requested a dry standpipe in this stair. That was one of the conditions. So those are the major site plan changes. SLR also made some changes to the drainage system. So there's going to be an increased underground storage area. And they were able to make some adjustments to the bioretention basin because of that. And that's going to result in, per the model, 0 overtopping of the Park Road during all flood conditions, storm conditions, 25, 50, and 100-year storms. So that will no longer overtop per the model. The existing model showed that it would overtop, but in reality, the road never overtopped. So this is a very conservative approach. So that,
Fire pump issue got resolved, right? We don't need one.
yeah, no fire pump required. So we presented the courtyard. So this was, the base plan was to have just a lawn area that would have been an outdoor learning area with a walk with some benches. It will now be the base plan will be the amphitheater. So even though we showed this and called this as a alternate, it was shown in the plan. So the zoning commission took this as the base.
They really wanted.
They really wanted
They
it.
really wanted it.
Design update. So we've responded to and incorporated staff P&Z comments, and we've been continuing design refinements, incorporating value management options, and detailing coordination and final material selection.
Site plan questions?
Oh, sorry, yes.
So where the islands were removed, I recalled that part of the purpose of those islands in the parking lot were to help define walkways.
Mhm.
So how will we consider walkways has anything been, refined to help make sure we know where those walkways are? What's the plan for that?
Yes, so in this spot here, there'll be a striped area that aligns with this walkway here. And then as part of these end islands that got enlarged, there will still be a sidewalk, and it'll be at the end of the parking lane. And that will bring you up to here, and it's just slightly off access with the main entry.
Like through those islands?
Yeah, it's right at the edge of the island.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you. Sorry, I think I have 3 site plan questions. How do these changes, do you estimate, impact budget? Are they adding or subtracting? I know some are pluses and some are minuses, but if you had to give a overall,
I haven't
take the amphitheater
looked
out.
at that. Yeah,
'Cause
that would
we
be
know
a
where
good
the
question
amphitheater
for
does for
Newfield
us.
to answer, but
Well, the amphitheater was part of the overall budget, I think. It was $212,000.
right. So there's
Yeah, I know. I know the amphitheater.
I think the-
dollar figure. So
I think the biggest
thing.
impact was the extra work that has to be done at that drainage area up in the
Yeah, that's
north.
the one I'm curious about.
It's
right. Yeah. So the increased underground drainage will be an add.
Mm-hmm.
It probably is offset by some of the stuff that was done in the bioretention. There was also a change to the piping here, but I don't know cost impacts of what that would be. I'd have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
But
And then-
there would be less trees, less islands, so that would probably be a savings there.
Okay. And then can you remind me where we landed with fencing? I know we had talked about like the softball outfield. There's a lot of back and forth on 4 foot versus 6 foot. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on where we are right now.
Yeah, I have a graphic later. I could
Okay,
skip
perfect.
to that.
Nope. You can keep going through your
Okay.
presentation if we're going to get to that later. All right. Thank you.
Oh, here it is. All right, so some of the changes for the fencing. So this graphic's, I think we left, I'm not sure if this graphic is slightly old, that the warning track on the newest site plan, let me just go back, only shows the warning track at the fence line at the road. So I haven't updated that in this plan. But for the fencing changes, so this one was changed. Oh, this didn't update.
I thought we talked
So
about
this one is going to be a 6-foot
Yeah. Right.
fence, right? So that's going to be the picket fence there. This one here, I changed from the slatted to just the 6-foot chain link. This is existing here, coming around. Then we get back to new chain link with the 12-foot high at the outfield to protect the road, and then 6 foot along the perimeter here. And then this one is actually was slated to be the privacy slats as well. So that wasn't discussed last night. So I'm not sure if that we want to remove the privacy slats for those as well.
Is privacy between the
So it's basically screening the service area, the dumpsters, the transformer, the generator.
I think we can. That's small enough. We can probably keep that.
Okay.
But the 4-foot metal picket fence. I thought we went to 6 foot.
Yes, so
chain link
that's
there.
yeah, so that's now shown as 6 foot. I updated that in the final presentation. In the draft, it still had said 4.
Oh, we don't have the update version. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the fencing around the basin. I thought we talked about removing it altogether.
So yeah, that was Richter and Segan and SLR do not recommend removing that fencing because the basin, while mostly will be dry, there will be times when you have rainstorms that it will be will hold water.
Okay.
So they're recommending providing a fence. But if it's reduced to 4-foot fencing, then there's a question of whether or not that's reimbursable by the state.
Yeah, it won't be.
So they're recommending keeping the fence, but that's their recommendation.
Is there any avenue with the state to, because part of that, right, is that it could have academic purpose, right? Because you can use that as part of science. Perhaps I'll let the educators weigh in on that. But if that were the case, do we have any avenue to pursue? I guess I'm looking at Emily. Reimbursement? Because a 4-foot fence would allow greater visibility into that.
We can approach the question to the state before we go any further, especially now with all their changes that they're doing at the Office of Grants Administration, and advise maybe the educational aspect, which they'll probably ask to confirm with the final submitted ed specs. I would have to have Jack take a look at the ed specs and see how that area would fall with any type of education if we were to use that as a support.
It's not part of the ed specs to have that nature area.
We have outdoor learning in there, though.
There's outdoor learning in there.
Yeah. So we can have Jack kind of broach that question with them using that aspect of it and see if they'd be willing to at least make maybe part reimbursable, if not fully reimbursable.
Would that then have to go back to P&Z?
Yep.
Yeah. But they did say
It's 6 foot now.
if we make changes, though, it doesn't have to go to public hearing again. We just have to,
Right.
Provide it.
We just have to go back to plan and zoning and just say we want to make this change.
right.
And you
But
just
it's not a public hearing and like starting all over.
no.
Right. Depending on the magnitude of the change, it could be done at the staff level. That's what I thought they said last night.
Yeah. Any change to the site plan other than the things that were listed in that list.
What type of fence is it?
It's chain link.
Is that something as a committee?
No, I just
we would
highlighted
like
it. It's
to
actually a
go
different
on
red
to
than that one.
pursue, or-
I just highlighted in red
Sure.
because that was the
Going
one in
to the state
question.
to ask
So
about it?
We don't have to vote on that. I think. Right. We don't need to vote on you going to the state or asking about that.
If I'm the only one with that opinion, I don't.
I mean,
like,
the
put it
question's
forth.
not. The question doesn't cost anything, right?
And the worst that they can say is no.
Yeah.
Really is the worst, but it doesn't hurt to ask before.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share my opinion. If there's a 6-foot high fence there, don't bother even doing it, because it's short-sighted.
Don't bother in doing what?
Don't even bother having a bioretention basin there.
Well, the
Just-
bioretention's not for learning. It's for
But that's what it's supposed to be for.
learning.
Yeah.
I thought the bioretention is for water
it's
drainage something.
it has a dual purpose. So it's
Yeah, it's
serving
both.
right.
So,
So-
like, if it's a 6-foot high fence, it's not gonna be used.
Do you
for
expect
education.
kids to go into that marsh and do stuff in there?
I think Mike Segan needs to think outside the box and get rid of the fence.
Like put boulders around it?
I have a
Boulders
project
are not
right
bad.
now,
That's
there's
expensive.
no fence around it. And kids are gonna be using it.
I mean,
in a
how
park.
deep is it going to be? Let's say there is a storm, right? Are we talking like 6 inches of water? Are we talking 5 feet of water? Like, what are we talking about?
Depending on the magnitude of the storm, if it's a 100-year storm, it would be pretty full for a certain
full-
duration.
But what's
But we
full?
should have those numbers, yeah, right? Like they get
If
those
full is
numbers
a
for a
foot,
100-year storm
that's a lot-
versus a 50-year.
Right.
Right. I'd have to get that information
All
from
I'm saying
SLR.
is if we're gonna have a 6-foot high fence there, it's not gonna be used, then just bury structures underneath it and don't use it. Just make it grass.
Like put a water retention basin underneath it, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
It would be similar to an underground storage that we have over in this area.
I don't know, I just think the 6-foot high fence is short-sighted. And I'd like to understand what kind of species are going in it. Is it gonna look like a swamp?
Mosquitoes.
Oh, I have that.
Like, so who's selecting the species in it? Is it SLR or is it Mike Segan?
It's Richter and Segan selecting it. I have that. Just give me a second. I can
Like plant species or animal species?
Animal
Plant.
plant.
plants.
Hold on.
Some frogs.
The animals will come.
The animals will come.
They'll be there.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Something to feed the falcons.
Okay, so the base, this is from Cynthia from Richter and Segan. The basin plantings will be mixes of native grasses and wildflowers that are appropriate for the anticipated water regime and the typical mixes used in detention basins. A wet mix for the bottom of the basin and a drier mix for the sides of the basin. On the top of the bank and along the nature trail, there will be a grass mix of low-growing fescues.
So that's all nice stuff. So if you have a 6-foot high fence, don't even bother.
So I guess we need the answer. How deep is the water going to be there? Is it going to be like a foot, 2 feet, 5 feet? What are we talking?
Yeah, so
Well,
it'll be
the worst case scenario.
the basin. I'm not sure how deep the basin is. I'm not fully, but it could be. I think it's 3.5 feet deep at the deepest point, or it might be higher than that. But it could be a decent pond after a 100-year rainstorm for a number of days.
We want to make sure it's
So
used.
like River Road
and,
then.
and not, we don't want to put a 6-foot high fence there and make it a deterrent.
Yeah. I mean, is this a question for like the town officials? Do they have a like? Is this a question for them?
Go with a 4-foot fence. 6 foot high is taller than most of the people in this room.
I'm saying, why do we need a fence at all?
I don't think we do.
Make sure you have a mic.
Oh,
Oh,
Here.
The fence is really for safety, so when you have that storm event and you're at school, you don't have a situation where you have some standing water where kids can get into. That's what the fence is for. Sorry.
Just, we need something that people can see over the top of
Yeah, I agree.
if we're going to have a fence. So we've been talking about this for 3 meetings. Let's make it 4 feet.
4 feet. We're recommending make it 4 feet, and then we'll get it through the state somehow.
I thought we had already agreed to make it 4 feet.
are you making a motion, Ken?
I thought we were gonna do
You just make a motion?
No.
Oh, you want to make a motion?
No, I said I thought we had already agreed to make it 4 feet.
No, the last meeting we made it 6 feet because of the reimbursement.
I thought that was just for the playing field.
I don't think so. Right? What's in the plan right now? 4 foot or 6 foot?
6 foot.
6.
Yeah, we took that no 4-foot fences because they're not reimbursable. So
Right.
So I make a motion to change the fence around the bioretention garden to a 4-foot fence.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. I'm going to abstain. I want more information about why we need a fence.
Yeah, I think having that data would be helpful though, right? Like at a 100-year storm, we would expect the basin to have this much water. At a 50-year storm, we would expect the basin to have this much water.
Right.
Yeah, because maybe there are other
'Cause even with
other
100
methods
right.
of barricades that we could look at.
Right. And even if it's 3 feet down with a 100-year storm, it may not fill up completely. I don't know. Do we have that data?
I'll check with Rock.
Rock had a lot of good data.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Let's move on. Any other questions on fencing? We good with everything
Yeah,
else?
can we just look at the fence between the 2 Little League fields and the parking lot and just explain all that stuff there, north to south?
This here,
Yeah, all that stuff right there.
that's existing fencing to remain.
Okay. What's that dotted line to the right of it?
This,
Nope, go to your right.
this,
Where does that end? Right there in the corner?
yeah, that's where the new fence picks up where the existing fence is,
Okay, I see.
and
then,
it's 6 foot. Yeah.
What's the dotted line? What's that other dotted line to the right?
Yeah, there's a black dashed line
Black
next to the
dot.
gray line.
Go down.
Parallel to each other next to the parking lot.
Yeah. You're getting warmer.
Oh, no, left, right there.
there.
Oh, right. No,
This one?
right.
I- oh, that's I'm not sure what that is. It's just a graphic. Yeah.
Me neither. Okay, so it's
Not a
not,
fence.
Oh, maybe
it's not a
that's
fence,
the.
though.
It's not a fence?
No.
Okay,
Because it goes all the way down, then around the bottom, this whatever that dash line is.
It's something in
It's
just in
bordering the sidewalk, whatever it is. Oh, maybe a property
okay.
line.
Could be.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
It might be a setback line actually.
okay, I just wondered, I thought there was like two fences there or something. Okay.
No, it's just one fence that's existing.
Property
Gotcha.
line makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Move on. Okay.
So we just have an updated graphic for the band room area. So we showed this at the last meeting. So this was where we were, and then we raised the roof to accommodate acoustics in the band room and chorus room. And this is the updated massing and Mike, you want to talk about that?
Sure. Let me see the pointer. Yeah, sure. Thanks. Yeah, so we raised it 6 feet to accommodate the acoustics. We were trying everything to get keep the budget down. So that's why we were trying to push the ceiling down a little bit, the roof down. But our acoustician says to make these rooms perform, at their peak, they have to have, I think it's 18 feet clear to the ceiling, which requires to push it up. So we're able to incorporate some clear story windows, still maintaining a storefront, less expensive system. So I think those rooms are going to be fantastic with the amount of natural light. By raising this up, we're also able to eliminate the roof screen that sat in this location here, blocking the units beyond. So the building massing is doing that now. So this is just kind of an FYI design update. Any questions on this?
P&Z was okay with the roof screens as proposed?
There was no comments on the roof screens, so
So they were okay with it?
This is something that came up. No, we're not proposing blue and yellow. This is a comment that came up a couple weeks ago with the subcommittee, design subcommittee, about the right-hand side, really the south side of Main Street, and the durability and cleanability of the gypboard interior walls on the corridor side. Yes, we'll be utilizing corner guards to protect corners. We know corners get beaten up. But the idea came up was, what if we bring the brick facade material into the corridor, just on the right-hand side? Because on the left-hand side, there's windows and benches, and there's a lot of ins and outs of the walls and more durable materials. But the right-hand side is kind of unprotected. So we try to look at a datum, which, oops, I'm on your head here. Along this point, we do have a 9'4" high datum line that currently exists with a height of some storefront curtain wall systems, the openings of these corridors that currently runs along the corridor here. So we thought that might be a good height to bring that material, the durability, into it. It will also be the same brick material that you have on the exterior at this end of the corridor, and also the brick material at the end of this corridor. So it's kind of nice to thread the whole building together with the exterior material. It's something we often do, and at least vestibules, and sometimes we bring it right through on the main streets. There would be an add, obviously, a cost add to this. We have not, quantified that yet. We want to run it by the committee first. But our recommendation that this would be a good move to bring some nice, Lindsay's going to present a few updated renderings. This is not depicted in the renderings, but you have to imagine it on the right-hand side.
Do you have a rendering that shows it or no?
Not the brick, so you have to,
Imagination.
Imagination. If this
It'd
is
be the gray brick. You're saying.
It'd be the gray brick. So we actually have a couple new bricks in the back that we can share with you that came out of that meeting, and we have some updated renderings. But it was decided that this red brick was the preferred brick, and the secondary brick. I guess the committee and us, we were looking for more of a contrast, so a lighter brick. So we did find a couple lighter bricks I think are pretty nice. We're going to continue to look, make sure those are the right ones. So it would be that lighter brick. So it'd be a nice soft contrast on that gyp wall. Any thoughts or comments on what's being proposed? If we should. No, up to 9'4". 9'4". So well above any height. It works well with as I mentioned, like an already established datum line. If you look, at the marquee, the bottom of the marquee is at 9'4" already. These openings to the secondary corridors are 9'4". The height of the storefront, the curtain wall, is 9'4". So you have that line already established. Mm-hmm. So I think it makes sense to bring it up to that height and run it right through. they're going to bring a lot of character, I think, as well to this space, bringing that exterior material.
You got gypsum above,
Gypsum above that you're not going to touch.
kind of a light color.
Exactly.
break it up.
Yep. That's the idea.
Do you have a rendering of that yet inside?
Not yet. That's
No.
something. So we just put this together just to, to have this conversation. So I think that would be the next step, is to take the color palette that's hopefully decided on tonight, and then apply this material to that wall, and we'll show you that how high in the rendering where that line would be.
So it's the actual brick in the hallway, not just the actual color, the actual.
The actual brick would run right
in
through.
the hallway, okay.
Yep. Super durable. So we can come back to the conversation, I guess,
Yep.
when we look at the interior renderings.
Yep.
Okay, great. Oh, and then so here we go. I should have clicked add. So we're talking 9'4". We're also looking at opportunities. We're talking about colors in a moment, but the auditorium, the gymnasium. I guess there's the desire to utilize the school colors, the red and the black. So it might be a nice moment to kind of tease some of that color on the corridor side before you enter into that space. So there's some opportunities, even working with the brick, to start to see some of the school colors kind of celebrated in Main Street.
It's not really that bright red, right? Is our school colors like pure red, or is it like a?
Depends on
We
what
ask?
item you're looking at.
Okay.
It's a red. It's not like a star fire engine. It's not a fire engine red, but it's more of a red than a maroon for sure.
Mm.
We're going by the logo of the school, and
Yeah.
it's a red. So yeah, we would love to get the exact red, so we can, as we finish up the drawings.
Make it the exact red. We can make it whatever we
Yeah.
What's the brick reveal?
Oh, the brick reveals is so you have your plane of brick, and we're basically pulling one brick course high, just in a little bit, like half an inch.
Oh,
So
it's same color.
Same color, yeah. So it
Okay.
just creates a little bit of a shadow line. On the exterior, we're threading through the other color. So if it's gray, we're bringing through the red. If it's red, we're bringing through the gray to kind of tie the building together. On the interior, we started looking at that, and it looked like it complicated it a bit.
Yeah.
So to keep it simple and modern, we're going to stick with the same brick.
Okay.
Yep.
What height is that reveal at?
2 feet.
2 feet, okay.
Yeah, and it lines up with mullions on interior and exterior. And again, it's a little detail that pulls everything together. Yep. Okay. So yeah, we can come back to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly from a, durability standpoint, it makes sense. Obviously, we need to, I think, see it and understand budget.
Okay.
What that does to adding. I guess, is it become an add alternate? Do we discuss it as an add alternate? I don't.
Probably have to be
Yeah.
an ad alternate.
What?
It probably would have to be an ad alternate.
Yeah.
See how much it costs first.
Yeah, and then we get the cost.
So we
Yeah.
we have one more.
Rosanna, real quick,
Yeah.
regarding adding the brick, if it offsets future cost of painting those walls,
Mm.
if you got to do it once a year, it might be worth
Yeah.
putting brick in there.
Good point.
So we're going to have another estimate pretty soon. So let's
September.
include it as an alternate in that, and then we can make a better decision.
Yeah.
But I think it's
I like the idea.
it's a nice idea.
Yeah.
I do like the gray better than the red.
Yeah. I like
Definitely.
it much better than just plain gypsum
White.
white.
Yeah.
Okay. Exterior materials. We put the three previous options, or the three options that we reviewed last time with the subcommittee, in here for reference. Option A was an orange brick with a lighter secondary brick, and we have a few renderings. We can come back to any of this. Option B, which was the preferred option, would be this red brick, velour brick. It's the brick we have in the back. We can take a good look at it. If you're looking at it from an angle, it has a sheen on it. It's a beautiful brick. But the comment was, and the request was, to look for a lighter secondary brick type 2, and those are the couple samples that we do have in the back. Again, we could take a look if you'd like. Let me click through to option C. Was more of just, throw every option out there, more of a tan brick. Looks quite dark on the screen. And then kind of the revised option B is what we're calling it, would be everything that was in option B, but with a lighter secondary brick, and a soft, subtle blend. So those two bricks on the left-hand side look a little more tan underneath these lights, but there's a nice contrast between those two. So we're picturing, the red as the main brick 1, and brick 2 would be a blend of those two other. So you get some variance within that gray field, and that would be the same brick as we just discussed running through Main Street. So it's a neutral color.
And that was the recommendation of the design subcommittee, was to go with this option B for the exterior palette.
Modified option B.
Yeah.
For the gray one there, it says gray, beige, CMU, or brick blend. Can you just explain
Sure.
what that or means?
Sure. So good question. So when we were here last time, we had a CMU sample, a ground face CMU, like an exterior material, a little nicer than this out here, because we didn't quite have the gray that we liked, the gray
Okay.
brick that we liked. So we're really picking a color family. They do make that CMU in a brick size instead of an 8-inch high. They make it a brick size but longer, but it's about approximately 30% more per material cost
Than the brick.
than a typical brick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful product, but
Oh, yeah, because I
outs-
thought the CMU was less expensive.
a standard
but the
size
bigger,
and a
okay.
ground face, right?
Okay.
So that's why we're hunting for an affordable brick, and I think we found a decent option.
Yeah, I gotta go look at that because the rendering makes it look like white.
Hmm?
I do like that idea though, but, yeah. We had talked about that too, about the damage control on the walls. But also, it's gonna take a long experience. You're breaking up that hallway, like, some of the areas down the hallway of, whatever they are, 3/4 inch tack strips. Oh, that's, yeah. Put them up so that they can make banners or whatever they want without fucking up the wall. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just said something about that fence. I didn't realize that. Yeah, why? Makes sense. Right. Yeah, it's good color. Oh, the guy who's sitting over there. What's that? The guy sitting there. Like they're using metal roofs too.
You gotta look at it every day, Blaze. You like it? So you're gonna have to look at it every day.
Yeah, I looked at it.
That's true.
I'll be looking out the window with that 6-foot fence.
6-foot fence. Oh, on the other side, yeah. You're 7th grade?
Huh?
You're 7th grade, right?
Sixth grade.
Oh, you're 6th grade. I thought you were 7th grade.
Just before we go back.
Very good. Thank you. Looks good.
Do we vote on that?
All right.
Yes, let's vote on that. I'll take a motion to approve option B revised as our color palette, brick palette choice.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Anyone abstaining? Motion passes.
Okay. Moving along, I know we're.
That was too easy.
I was gonna say that.
So, I don't think we sent this to you before the meeting, so we'll send this right after. This has updated renderings with
Yep.
the more contrasting. Again, it's hard to capture it in a rendering, the actual color,
Yeah.
but it shows more of a contrast between.
Looks
I think,
really nice.
yeah, it's moving in the right direction.
It's calming.
So that's your final. Now interiors.
That looks really nice.
So we're working with a revised palette from what we additionally reviewed. This is based on the comments we received to incorporate the school colors into the material palette. And the idea that you'll see throughout the renderings is that those colors are going to come through sort of in your big box, like your public spaces, your auditorium, your gym, and a few other spaces that we're proposing. And so that's all these materials here on the left, pulling the blacks and the reds from this logo, as well as pairing them alongside this modern gray that was really popular in our previous presentation. And that's an LVT floor, planks that are 48 inches long, and you're able to incorporate these different pops of color. In the corridors and the classrooms, we were leaning toward more of sort of a natural color palette, pulling colors from the outside in. Your greens, some browns, some blues. Thinking about all the areas outside of the school and really bringing those in. And then with some of the softer surfaces as well, and these pieces kind of playing off of biophilic design, sort of invoking, some leaves and even just some fun geometric patterns that even I think invoke sort of the STEAM theme as well. And then the center here, porcelain floor tile, which is what we're recommending for Main Street. Nice durable material, something kind of, bright, and we can maybe throw in some more charcoal grays in there. And then here, your typical cabinetry. We've got bringing in wood tones for some warmth on all of our millwork cabinets, and then nice light countertops everywhere. And this is just sort of the basis of the color palette, and we'll really expand on this in the renderings. One piece I want to touch on, there was a lot of questions last time when we were talking about the word that must not be named, carpet. We have no carpet planned for the school. But we do have this great product. It's called Kinetics, and it is a textile composite flooring, and it really behaves like a resilient tile. And this outlines some of the benefits. The first graphic up there is meant to demonstrate how it really allows moisture to pass through it and evaporate through it. So it's not a moisture holding material. It's actually even something that's used to mitigate slab moisture in a lot of different constructions. It's pretty amazing. But if you're just generally worried about, no sort of moisture or mold is ever going to accumulate within or underneath the carpet, and that makes it really good for air quality, as well as something described in the next graphic, which is even just demonstrating how soft surfaces are able to capture particulates from the air, which is really good in general for the air quality, and benefits students with asthma and really just breathing in general. So it's just showing how with a hard surface, that stuff is just going to be bouncing all around your room, so you really benefit from having a soft surface to absorb some of that. And then there's the acoustic, benefits, which even I think are even greater than your typical carpet with this product. So really, in a few key areas, it's really going to be beneficial to the environment.
What about the cleanability of it?
Cleanability, you just vacuum, and it's also completely washable. And in addition to that, you can always, if a tile is ever, just completely destroyed, somehow without repair, you can always just pop it up off of the ground. This isn't like a wall-to-wall kind of carpet type thing, so it's pretty easy to replace. But this stuff doesn't really stain. It has supreme durability against foot traffic. But your typical everyday clean is really just going to be a vacuum, really just a wash for any sort of extreme kind of soiling.
So no major maintenance.
No major
You don't have
maintenance.
to shampoo them or anything like that.
No.
John or Ken, have you worked with this product before?
Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
I mean,
Okay.
like she said, when you have a piece that's damaged, you can easily get to the side, pull it right up, and actually the glue, you use the same glue and put it right back down, new piece.
Right.
Yep.
And if anyone's
really nice
interested in touching it, we've got tiles on the back table of a few different patterns and colors. And
So in office areas where there's chairs and stuff, we're still gonna have those plastic mats where you roll around in your chair, so you're not gonna be wearing those things out, or how do you go?
it's really not,
You don't need it,
it's
or-
not necessary with this
Why is that?
product. It doesn't indent the way that carpet does. It doesn't have any sort of loops to it. It's really like a flat, resilient. It's tough. You could try to dent it, and you
It's
can't.
just something we need to look at when we look at furniture and floor.
Oh yeah, sure,
All those
most
different
definitely.
combinations that we have to make sure that everything works together. That, or you can't go flying at all. Yeah.
Is there any sound absorption with this?
Yes. It's better than typical carpet.
It's really the perfect product for a school.
Some schools
not so
will
much
even-
like in a corridor, but or a classroom, but certainly an auditorium or the media center, offices. It's really perfect.
So
for
not in the corridor because of aesthetics or because of what?
that. You usually don't put carpets in main corridors.
Just want to see.
Yeah,
Idea.
it's like a, I don't know, I call it a fuzzy VCT.
I like that. So we just wanted to give a quick overview so everyone was comfortable with their fuzzy VCT.
You're gonna use that now, huh,
I
Lindsay?
Great. So we're just going to jump right into the main quarters of the school. This is a rendering that we presented previously, playing off of that color palette of the greens and the blues, and we were looking into terrazzo versus tile, and really we were leaning more toward just sort of a larger format tile.
This is what the subcommittee, what was presented to the subcommittee?
Correct.
Okay.
Minus the brick on the left, on the right wall.
Correct. This image definitely invoked that. It just looked like such a markable surface, just being stark white. And so moving forward, whether it's with color or hopefully with the brick material applied, like Mike was describing, that whole wall on the left, there's, within sort of like the zone of, hands and bags, things bumping, you've got more durable materials.
I really like the colors.
But we've also responded to some of the feedback of, keeping this more of a branded space with school colors. And so we're looking into popping a little bit of red, leaning into some of those charcoal grays. So here's one idea where we're playing with a little bit of color on the ground, moving across the corridor. Here was,
that's nice.
Kind of developed a little bit further. This kind of a nice strong line leads you down that main street and even sort of divides that corridor in half.
I like the colors. My problem is that it kind of kills the theme of the school now.
Yeah.
So we have this very naturistic theme going on with the school with like plant themes and sky themes and all this stuff. So I'd be curious to see how that would tie into the academic wings. I don't see that tying well with that.
So I just want to clarify that, so this image is this was not presented to the design subcommittee. So that prior one was the recommended.
Can you go back?
Sure.
That was the recommended.
I
Where
like the
I-
colors here. I like the floor pattern though in the last one.
Yeah.
Like the border along that one side. I like that a lot.
So Heather, can you just explain kind of the thought process for the design subcommittee? For like this recommendation.
So the package, I guess, that we saw, the design subcommittee saw with the school as a whole. So the classrooms, the hallways, this space, it was a very cohesive feel, the media center and all that. It was the color palette. There were two original color palettes that were presented. This was the color palette that I have down as being the recommended palette, which has the grays, the blues, greens, the wood textures, that fuzzy LVT with the leaf-ish pattern on it. So the next one that they've come up with, the gray and the red bringing in, it was never presented to us, so it's our first
Yeah.
look as well. So
Okay.
Can we go to the next
So
one?
do we have the other option?
Well, I guess the reason why we're showing this is because we were asked to bring in some of the school colors into limited spaces. So you'll see we're going to look at the auditorium and the gym, and we asked to consider maybe the cafeteria. So we have those in here as well. So the idea is, how far do we bring the school color? Does it stay within those rooms, or does it bleed out into Main Street? And then there's more biophilic patterns, the blues and browns. Are those really isolated to the corridors, or do we incorporate those more in Main Street and the media center? So
I really like these colors, but then I'm thinking like, but it's a school. Like I feel like I'm in a mall. Like it's very industrial feeling about
Very
that.
industrial.
I also feel like it's Dorothy went back to Kansas.
It's very black and white, and the green and the blue is much calmer to me, which I think is very important in a middle school hallway.
And I was the brat that wanted to see the green or the gray owl, obviously.
Oh.
Well, because I'm trying to look for, I like the calming and the nature. I also like the STEAM and innovative look.
Yeah.
And this is more, to me, innovation, screens innovation, streamlined, innovation up in the red.
This doesn't feel
But
very welcoming.
You guys,
No.
I'm not gonna sit here, whatever everybody wants. I think this is a larger space that should mimic this, the STEAM innovation feel of a school that's what we're trying to build throughout, and I look at this as a bigger space too. But I love the other one too.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
of course, this is,
I really like the floor pattern on this one. I like how the whole innovation side is like kind of highlighted that way.
So can we, if we were to use the brick on the Main Street wall, and then I'm assuming we would take the color off the top because that I feel like it would be
Yeah.
too much.
We're kind of flipping.
So can we then change, if you go back,
Blue back on that.
like on the floor, can we kind of make the floor pattern
That pattern.
Yeah, I
that
think-
pattern
I
and
think this is
shift the
the-
gray so the blue on the innovation center with the gray on the floor to then complement the gray tones that are in that brick?
So this floor pattern,
Yeah.
this floor pattern with the blue on the wall on the left,
Yes.
the gray brick on the bottom on the right, and then a white jip above.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's
We-
the
we can do
red
that.
in the background?
So
I think just past like the windows of like the media
It's
center
an accent color on
robotics.
a wall, looks like, right?
Yeah, we were
Okay.
since we made that innovation wall gray rather than blue. It was sort of just showing, another
Okay.
another one of those boxes could pop some color.
Okay.
Or else it was starting to look a little too gray, a little too washed out, and yeah, it definitely needs a little more color, I think, and yeah, I think really where we're at is we'll just we'll come back and we'll basically merge these, and I think some of the school identities is naturally gonna come through, kind of the sharp lines and the contrast with the charcoal on the floor. I think is gonna make a big difference. It's gonna look much different from this one with kind of the curvy lines and the soft floor, and then you've still got the logo, which is sort of almost all the way to the back on the wall there. It's a little skewed on the side, but you'll still have the brand coming through there. And so I think we'll really just tap back into this and figure out how to kind of merge both of those identities. I think that was a good point of we've got to make a connection, and Main Street is really the place to do it between the scheme of some of the learning spaces where we are going to use some of those calmer colors, and then the school identity colors.
Can I ask something, and you can all say, no way, we're not gonna do it. I'm just thinking, so that, because the walls are so high, where that gray is right now to the right, that would be, I'm thinking of how do we carry the logo of STEAM throughout the entire school? So when I think of a mural or whatever, a painting, and you have it in, we're gonna see it in the media center, would that be a good spot, again, to have that STEAM logo? So like, I'm not saying have it in every single room and every single place, but bringing that logo throughout the school, because
And so, Dr. Markey, what do you mean by STEAM logo?
you'll see it, and it's
Oh, okay.
coming up next, so I'm thinking like, can we put that up there so that it's not so, yeah, you know what I mean, so, right, and I'd like
Yeah.
to carry it through,
Can we skip to it? I want to see what we're doing.
Sure. And this is just a view from the other side. This is that same floor. You're kind of getting that angle, but we're gonna adjust those colors. So kind of skipping. Here we go.
No.
So the purpose, well, not my purpose of wanting a new school in the beginning is to change the whole curricular aspect of it, which we're doing. Our whole curricular aspect, the whole thing is revolved around engaging our kids, because they're disengaged, and for a million reasons why we know STEAM is engaging them, especially the arts. Well, all of it, and this is what they need to be successful. So how do we carry this theme through? And it doesn't have to be that exact logo with all these things, but how do we carry the STEAM logo throughout the school? Because you don't want it to just be in one area. It's still a STEAM school. It's still a school, but it's a STEAM school. You take all that away. If you take all that away, that's the library we had, and that's not going to excite our kids. And I don't know, bringing that STEAM feel throughout the entire building without overdoing it, I think is important.
So when you say STEAM, what do you see?
I see robotics, I see engineering, I see mathematics, I see the arts. I see a reflection of performance-based assessments. I see project-based learning. I don't see, yes, I see books. I love books. I'm a teacher. I'll always be a teacher at heart. We're always going to need books, but I'm looking at digital literacy. I'm looking at what we're missing in this district, and a lot of schools are missing, and then I'm seeing it in others. You know, obviously I've been in the STEAM schools that we lose tons and tons of students to, which we haven't. We got a few back. They don't need to go to Bloomfield and West Hartford and all these magnet schools. They're going to get it right here. And I want, when I have families walking in, I don't want them thinking they need to go somewhere else. I want them to walk into the school and say, this is exactly what, you know, we're not going to be able to have the big, beautiful fish tanks with all the gorgeous sea creatures and everything that they have at some of these STEAM schools through CREC. But that is what the families who are sending the kids to these schools are looking for. So I want them to not just think, oh, we have a splash of STEAM. Like, this is the way we're going to do things. It's project-based learning. It's going to be interdisciplinary learning, which it is. Our curriculum is all going to be interdisciplinary with project-based learning units at the end of every unit, which is going to engage them in all of this. I just don't want it to be, oh, we're calling it a STEAM school, but it's really not, because a lot of people do that. They say, oh, let's call it a STEAM school, and then let's not really do it. Our curriculum that's being built right now is based on a STEAM curriculum, and we've started it with an interdisciplinary focus with project-based learning at the end of every unit.
I'd rather see displays of the actual STEAM projects than a logo that says STEAM. So to me, walking in that main street, all the windows in the Innovation Center and the art room and robotics, right? There was display space, like, so you have all that in the main corridor.
I just look at it as such a huge space where I feel like it needs something else.
Or like a broadcasting booth you can see from the hallway.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity to do something there. I just worry about just emblazoning the word STEAM on the wall, because it's kind of a buzzword. Like, how do you display the curriculum without
saying
STEAM?
it, right? Yes, exactly. How do you show that you're a STEAM school without having to put the word STEAM everywhere?
That's what I was thinking with the display, like
sure, or like imagery.
Right, pictures of that'd be okay with that too, like not the word, but like imagery, like something.
Yeah, this is sort of just like a base idea placeholder. The idea is definitely to develop an identity for your school through our wall graphics, and this is just one location here in the media center, but we have slated other, placeholder areas. Another one that's pictured in the renderings is the classroom commons, and we'll work on developing those individually, and that'll be a whole separate design process even. But it's a good conversation to start now. Because it doesn't have to have, verbiage, or it can just be, visual sort of images or.
So I prefer the bottom, middle, over the top stuff.
Yeah. The coding is really nice.
So is that painted on? Are those?
So they're it's like a decal. It's a vinyl.
So
It's
it's
like a
getting
cutout. It
picked
it
off.
behaves like a, you know, they install it like a sticker on the wall. It's laid onto the wall
Heather, you're
over.
making that with your cricket.
That, that the kids are gonna pick at and pull
Well,
off.
that's what I'm saying.
No.
It won't.
No, it's on there.
Yeah, it's a commercial grade product.
And we don't have to decide on the graphic now. I think what we can do is, I don't think we would.
Well, I
is
mean-
identify areas and give square footages, and so we can capture a value and a cost. So we have placeholders in the plan. If there's a desire to put it up high on that wall, then we can identify the area and say vinyl graphic, design TBD, and we can come back to it.
So I see it as like kind of two separate issues. One is the theme of the school, right? We originally thought of like a nature type theme. So if we're going to move away from a nature type theme and more into a STEAM type theme, then, things like grass carpeting may not be the best option, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. And the other thing is color palettes, right? If we're going to go, I like the blue-green color palette personally, because I feel like it's a calming color, and if red seems like it's screaming at me, and it's an angry color. Like, even where I work, we moved away from red. It's just not a color you want everywhere. So,
Yeah, I feel like the red, the branding that we asked them to incorporate is clashing with the other stuff.
it is.
But I don't think necessarily moving away from nature or natural materials is not STEAM.
No, I'm just saying, like last meeting we talked about like the first floor having more greens and being like earthy and trees and stuff, and the top floor being more clouds and sky and things like that. If that's very nature-ish, right? But doesn't encompass all parts of STEAM. That's more just like the science part. So we need to think about like what's engineering. Maybe we put airplanes in there now. You have engineering into it. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, we have to rethink, right? If we're gonna do a more STEAM themed.
And you can't forget the arts,
And the arts.
because that's, and I'm not saying it has, I don't think we, I think there's a place for the natural colors and the grays and the blues and the greens, and then I think in the bigger areas, it doesn't have to be all red. It could,
So I
just more color, or like something.
So what we were thinking of, Dr. Macri, was that in public areas like the auditorium and the gymnasium, we would definitely use school colors, because that's
Yeah.
makes sense, right? Maybe even the cafeteria. But in the hallway, the media center, and the classrooms where you want the kids to be more calm and not like as amped up, more calming, relaxing colors like the blues and the greens.
So I want the kids to be calm. I don't want them going crazy and running down the hallways. And I think, to me, that is all in discipline and classroom management and all of that. And I could talk about that till I'm blue in the face. Because if you're a teacher and you're not interacting with the kids while they're in the hallway and you're just standing there, then of course they're going to do whatever they want to do. It doesn't matter if the walls are blue, black, orange, or green. It doesn't make a difference. To me, we're doing we are branding a school in such a way. I like I'm getting used to that. I like the green floor, I will say. I don't like the kinetic green stuff, but I like the green floor with the grays and calming for the classrooms, because you do have a lot of student work up, and you do need a calming space for those areas. The calming space for the library, of where you get a book, you're quiet, and it's, we're hiring right now, the position for the person who's going to be working in the library is actually going to be science, math, technology certified. So the old-fashioned library of what we know, which may be soothing and nice and everything to us, is not what we're trying to make that media center. It's more going along with the innovation space,
Right.
than the classroom space, because our kids need digital, like I talk about digital literacy, because I'm not just making it up. It's curricular based. I'm trying to make sure that we are going to be what we say we're going to be. But with that being said, it doesn't have to be screaming red either.
Yeah, like I was
Yeah, you
thinking,
know what I mean?
when
Like
you
it's-
go towards the coding area from, if you go back to the media center photo rendering,
Yeah, that's-
maybe more like stone, natural, I wouldn't say metallic, but more industrial feel maybe as you get into that
Mm-hmm.
area. I don't know if you need the reds. I don't, I think the reds
I
would.
can
would
show you what it would look like. We tried
So
to do
that
a
carpeting
study of.
It's really, I mean, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're thinking.
It's just so much red. Like you
Right.
stick into 3 colors for the entire
Yeah,
building.
you don't
I
have
think
to do that.
It would make
I
me
l-
nauseous.
Right. I would no. I know, and I just don't like. And I see that green eventually being dated, and sooner rather than later is the way I feel. It doesn't have to be red. I'm not a fan of the green, but I don't have to. I said it a million times. It's going to date itself, and I think it's
Yeah.
going to date itself rather quickly. And I think we know that we're not getting another school. We're all going to be, you know, maybe your great grandchildren might see another school. Your great great grandchildren, and eventually, kids are not. You know, I don't know. I just don't love it. But I've made whatever. You guys have been working your tails off on this. So if you love it, and you go with it. I don't. And I'm not going to sit there and say, I hate this green. I'm going to get used to it. That's what's going to happen. Those are just my 2 cents. And then that green with that other blue in that room, it's just dull and boring, and that's not what I'm trying to capture in this area. I want excitement, and it's different. The library isn't the same library we had when we were little. And it's not here either, actually.
So it's almost like you want a more industrial feel to it.
The teacher who's going to be teaching is not a library media specialist. The job is posted right now for someone with a technology, science background, because they're going to be pulling all of this together with huge focus on digital literacy. The library media specialist position is incorporated into the language arts and to the interdisciplinary.
So what types of, forgive my ignorance, I guess, what type of lessons are they doing? Like what projects are they working on? Like what are they actually doing in this space?
So, for example, if you're doing, so we're going to try to find a through line of, and what we're still thinking through, let's just pick one big thing that you need everywhere, perseverance. So let's say perseverance is your soft skill, but it's really what we're hearing that no one has, right? Our kids give up. They give up very quickly. They don't want to, they want all the answers right away. So they need to play with things, and they need to do that through project-based learning. It's not a teacher stage on the stage, right? So you have math, you have science, you have language arts, you have art. They'll teach their disciplines, but then they'll come together to design a unit. So there'll be 4 or 5 units in a year. I think we're going to stick with 4. I think that's where we are. So the overarching theme, and they're still working on the units because it's going to take us every minute of the time to do it. Let's just say, for example, maybe perseverance is the overarching theme. What are you bringing in that project that's going to make kids persevere and yet tie in what they're learning in math, what they're learning in even when they're going to STEAM class. What the project looks like or what it is, we haven't 100% decided because that's up to the curriculum writers. They're in the process of doing that now. But your overarching thing for that one unit may be perseverance in the area, in all these areas. So your project can look everybody's project can look different. You're not going to see the same project from every kid. Like we used to do dioramas and almost all of them look the same. You don't want that. You want them to be thinking critically and coming up with how they want to display their learning. So it's really hard to explain exactly what it will be because it depends on what it's. Instead of us telling them what they're making, they're going to show us what they want to make and how they want to display their learning.
All right. So just doing a time check. It's got like 45 minutes left.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe for next time.
Yeah, so maybe we can run through the other spaces,
Yeah.
get a good feel for everything else, and then come back with a couple
Sure.
other options. Okay.
definitely.
Oh, can we just go back to Main Street? Just quickly, it was on my notes, that the design subcommittee had recommended the porcelain tile for Main Street as opposed to the other material that was presented,
The
terrazzo, for maintenance reasons.
Over terrazzo.
Yeah.
And that's what this picture's showing, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Cool.
Take a motion to approve that.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstaining?
We have a floor material.
New floor material. For Main Street.
One interior decision made.
So working our way into the auditorium, this was previously shown as a very neutral palette. We've got the acoustic panels up on the wall, nice dark gray, having dark gray on the walls also to kind of keep this space, kind of nice and dark. And we're focusing all the light down toward the stage, that the white clouds are kind of leading you up there. And then a little dark on the screen here, but the color in the space comes through a little bit in the carpet, and then on the fabric of the theater seats, which is just like a navy blue. So just overall a very dark neutral palette. And then we have a suggestion to pull in the school color. And so we're going kind of even more just sort of neutral one tone on the walls now, and really just bringing the focus. It's highlighted, I think, even further by a red curtain, and then playing a little bit with some accent in the carpet. This is sort of a little bit of a busier pattern in this option. We have a secondary red option as well. This one's hard to see on the screen, but I've got a sample on the back table. It just kind of has a little bit of red striping in it, but it's mostly gray. So your focus is really on the red curtain. There we go. Thank you.
So when the design subcommittee did meet with Perkins, the design that they had wasn't one that we were thrilled about, so we asked them to go back. So we don't have a recommendation for the auditorium because these are all new graphics. So this will need to.
Do any of these align with your recommendations?
Well, we
to
had,
them?
we had asked them to bring in more of the
Colors?
school colors and less into the green blue palette.
Yep.
I'm personally a fan, not of this one because this one has the red seats. It's hard
Yeah.
to see on the screen, but I can see it
Those
on the
seats get
computer.
dirty fast. I'd rather have dark
But the
seats.
other option, not that one, I think it's the last one, this one. So it's that same floor, but the seats appear to all be a charcoal color.
Yeah.
And then the darker red curtains to pull in the red from the floor for the school colors.
I think this one's pretty sophisticated.
Yeah, I like it.
And the red reflects right back to the school color.
Yep.
And I think one thing we need to remind ourselves of is this is being designed for kids. So it needs to be somewhat playful, but they are teens or tweens, right? So they also want to be kind of sophisticated too. They're starting to grow up. So I think this is a good mixture
Yeah.
of the two.
I agree.
And I could see these more neutral options starting to come out and move away from the blues and the greens. But they are nice calming colors in the classroom, so I would not put in any red except for like an accent here and there. Just what I think.
I like this one.
Yeah, I feel like it's modern, classic, ties in the school colors well.
What do you think, Dr. Macri?
I love it. Just saying.
Yeah, we can vote on it if someone wants to make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Okay.
Great.
We have an
Last option.
auditorium.
Yay, auditorium's done.
Oh, and before he starts the gym, the gym that was presented to us at our meeting had blues in it. So we had asked Perkins Eastman to go back and do some red variations. So we don't have a recommendation because this is our first view at these options as well.
And so at the last meeting, the first time we showed any red, I think it was a little confusing because they all look, so similar, just kind of bouncing red around to different areas, because we've got the wall pads that border, this bottom tier of the room. We've got the red that comes in on the plastic seats on the bleachers. We have opportunities to add color or keep neutral. Up here is acoustic material. And also within the striping on the floor, potentially highlighting. We could do some, color blocking somewhere right in the center of that circle. It could be a really good opportunity to, again, throw in the logo. And so we really condensed all those options in an easier to see format, which was requested that we do so. So we could really compare everything side by side and kind of pick the pieces. I say the only other sort of unique piece is utilizing a little more shape and variation of color is this hexagon pattern, which is kind of alternating colors, bringing in a little bit of the black also from the logo. And kind of was invoking a little bit of like, sports motion, bouncing basketball, a little more like kind of fun playfulness into that view.
So in the draft version, you have the different red shades. Which one is that one? Is that the recommended red
So,
shade? 'Cause I do not like Cromwell red. It is not my favorite color.
So in the initial view, we were really turning those around quick to get those so you guys could really start to visualize the red. But we've been refining it since to match your school color.
It's so bright. And this on my iPad.
What we have is not what's up there.
Right. I like that.
Yes, I agree.
Like what was emailed?
The darker red.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
The darker red is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more in a maroon color tone. This is really your true. It's even coming across a little dark here. It's a bright red.
That's supposed to be bright red because I'm just trying to compare it to what was sent to us. So you're saying that is more what the bright red is on here?
Yes.
It's like fire engine red.
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
look at like the little
Oh,
The
yeah, that's
computer
right.
monitor is a bit more accurate.
It is fire engine red.
I like the
Oh,
top
it's
right
so
for
bright.
wall color and the bottom left for logo.
Which one, Ken? Can you speak in the microphone,
Top,
please?
right.
Microphone, please. Thank you.
My preference is the top right for the wall colorations and then the logo for the bottom left.
Aren't they? Oh, yeah, they're different. Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer the bottom.
Top left is, I think it's just too red.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too red.
Yeah.
Too much.
I do like the logo, the red falcon
In the white circle?
and the white circle.
In the top right, so if we're looking at the wall on the sides, I'm trying to understand, is it like half and half, kind of like using the mats and the bleachers for the red, and then everything else is like a painted white?
I'll just, I think it's a little hard to see here. So yeah, this red bit here is the wall pads. Behind this, all this white is just painted CMU, and that carries over the bleachers here. And then this whole band around is acoustic panels. We could make some red, some white, and then again above the acoustic panels, there's just more painted CMU.
So on the two long, I think what are the long sides of the gym?
Yeah,
It's mostly white.
right.
And
The
then
idea
two
and
shorter sides are mostly red with that kind of
Correct.
white, those white stripes.
yeah, we can mirror this, to the other side, so that the short walls, have this red accent.
I actually like that pattern thing against underneath the windows.
I do too.
I like that. I'm not a fan of the white wall next to it though. Something about that bothers me. I don't know what
white
it
wall
is.
next to it.
Right there.
Oh, like not having this, having the red next to this one.
I could.
Well, yeah, could you move the
Yeah.
bouncing balls up?
Can you what?
Like move the bouncing balls, I don't know what to call it, the design,
Hexagons.
and move it into that,
Like adding the hexagons here.
yeah.
Yeah, we could follow up
Yeah.
with that. I think that's
Yeah, I think that would look good.
And then as far as the falcon, do we all like the red falcon just outline
Or
in the white circle?
I really like the falcon in the bottom right.
Yeah.
With the black and red.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that on the floor.
Yeah.
The falcon on the wall.
On the wall. The one on the wall.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'd like to see that on the floor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we'll compile that as the final option for approval then. Okay. So we'll hop
Does
past.
anyone have an opinion about this cromwell red, or is it just me?
Oh, no, I don't.
No, I don't want to see it throughout.
I don't like it.
I just don't like cromwell red at all. Like, it needs to be darker. I don't like it. It's like screaming. It's an angry color. Why are we using an angry color?
Said anything to the like the real athletic, they'll kill you, just like me. I tried to speak up about some things, Rosanna, they would get rid of me before they got rid of this Cromwell red. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. That and the home of the champions, I was like.
You know what? The
"Can't we just
Panthers can
show
do
we're the
whatever
home
they
of the
want.
champions?"
The Falcons should be able to do whatever they want.
Well, can't we just, I mean, I don't know, can't we just change it to the red that we want for the
Yes,
entire school?
we're going
Yes.
to.
Like, just make it.
We're not going to use angry
'Cause they
red.
don't have, like, think about this school, there isn't any red in this school. The shirts, but even in some of their uniforms, it's a little bit of a darker red too.
It's not. I haven't seen this like bright red in anything.
No,
I think they think that's that
This-
color.
It'd be helpful if we can get a sample of, a
It's like
uniform.
that. It's like what it's like.
Yeah, but
that's
all
what
their
I like.
uniforms are different. They're all different.
Yeah.
They're all they're all different.
Even on
So-
the same teams, they have different uniforms.
When you buy like the when you buy like the merch and has like the red, that's bright red, but the uniforms are darker.
Yeah, you're not getting like I don't see fire engine red when I look at our stuff. I don't see the fire engine.
Who has like the RGB CMYK numbers?
Not-
Yeah,
I
that
don't
would
think they
be.
have one. Maybe we should establish that. I say we establish what that color is and make it official with the town.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then eventually everybody will just.
Let's
move
set
forward.
let's set the standard for everyone else,
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna.
because we can do that.
Even on our website, it's it's a change on those numbers when we were setting it up.
If you look at the
Just
red
a
we
nu-
picked.
one number away,
We
the
did
red
not go
changes
bright
went-
red on our website.
Yeah.
We dulled it down a little bit because it was too red. Like, it's not this
We have to
bright.
be out by 9, so we really gotta.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, let's run through, so the cafeteria,
Yeah.
another space that we're proposing potentially using some red. It can definitely come through in the furniture. It doesn't have to be in the space. This option shows just more of a neutral wall. This is just like a dark gray. We're implying the use of a graphic on this wall, and if it was the red wall, it's kind of pulling the red over, but it also could maybe just pop a little more on its own against a neutral on the other side. But here we could even bring in the red on the floor with the wood planks,
I like that. I like
mixing
that
with
one
the
more than the
gray
red
and
wall.
the brown.
What was shown before to the design? or what
So
is
the
design
the original
subcommittee
wasn't
recommends?
the original was a little rough, but it was more along the lines of this. It had a green wall. We've just since added to it. We had the green planks on the floor with the brown with the gray field. Just the tables didn't have any color; they were just kind of washed out white. So now we're showing these are just very neutral. It's actually just like a dark navy blue. So kind of with the theme of the school being with the greens and the blues, kind of bringing that in here. And then this wall here is just like a dark green. And then if we do a graphic here, maybe just a charcoal gray.
I actually like the red in this room. 'Cause now that I
With
see
the
the
gray
green,
wall.
it's like looks moldy. I don't know.
I do not like these tables.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, the
ignore the
tables are
tables because
terrible.
the tables are not what we're gonna be
Correct.
using. Just look at the color scheme
I
here.
like the color in the table. I don't know. The color on the floor looks really busy. I don't know.
I like the color on the floor because it pops the red around. It's hard to see without the table. We didn't have the tables.
Yeah, the tables do kind of they'll kind of
Distract.
cover a lot of that. It's
Yeah. It's very
and
distracting.
it's a big room.
See what,
And this red is this red, right?
you're saying about the floor.
Yeah, the tiles on the back table there.
See, it's not the fire engine.
Yeah, I think it needs definitely less accent planks.
Yeah, I mean,
We
like
could
with that-
dial back the.
with the big like I don't know, with the big window, like it just feels like there is like kind of like a nature opportunity here.
That's a good point too.
And it goes out.
Well, wood can be maybe brought in
But-
through the furniture.
But
or,
I guess I was gonna ask, like, are there like, is that view actually representative of that view, or is that just like, this is just like a really pretty view?
That's just a background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
You're gonna see
just
it.
an
yeah, so
idea.
that was
You're
my
gonna see the
question. What is,
softball
I'm
fence.
envisioning all these beautiful trees, but like, is that truly what they're
No,
gonna
you're
see?
gonna see a softball fence.
Black chain link.
Black chain link. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, at least it wasn't a dumpster.
Yeah, it won't be very naturey, but it'll be light. I mean, I like this. Yeah, less accents is probably fine. I'm okay either way.
This,
Kind
this
of.
way we're consistent with the 3 assembly spaces, having
Yeah.
some of the school color in it. You know, some a little bit louder than others. And then once you cross Main Street, I think it gets more into the blues and the greens.
And you're probably gonna put some like words above the 2 entrances there for hot, cold, or directions, all that stuff. Yeah.
I just stand here.
Is that what the monitors are for?
Definitely use a wood towel, not the tape.
There are monitors on the walls here, to the left of this opening and to the right of this opening.
Oh, okay.
For display space.
I see we got a lot of natural light, but where's the actual lighting gonna be in the cap? Is it just not shown?
It's actually linear
Or
to the
is-
ceiling, it's hard to see.
They're these
Oh, it's just indirect.
thin.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Great.
Yeah, I guess it's just hard to
Less
think
targets.
about everything. Like right now, we're looking at things like individual spaces, but like how do
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like,
how do all those spaces now like then interact with like Main Street, right? And like,
I just don't want everything to be like all red, all charcoal, right? And then, so if we don't do all red and all charcoal, how do you flow from one area to the next without feeling like,
it's clashing.
whoa?
Or it's constantly changing.
Yeah. Like, that's gonna be a challenge, I think.
I think that's something that we'll continue to develop, that transition, so that it's more natural.
So I prefer the charcoal wall over the red wall. I wasn't a fan of the green wall.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move forward from this then.
Okay.
So into typical classrooms, this is a view that we've looked at a few times. We're showing a accent color on the back wall, and you're seeing whiteboards there. And then on the front teaching wall of the space, more whiteboards and the interactive monitor. This is the light gray floor, and we're popping some green tiles, and we could pop greens or blues. Here's an option where we explored just using the darker color, that brown, popping those greens, and then it was requested that we also look at just mixing the 2 neutrals. So here's that in the floor where the field color is the brown, and we're popping out the grays, and then also showing another color on the back wall, maybe a nice bright green. And then I'll even just flip around. So this is the other side of the room. That's the casework, so you're going to get a lot of warmth in the room from the wood, which is kind of working to balance out that gray, that modern light gray on the floor. Again, the dark floor with the neutral pops.
I like your class sizes, Blaine.
I know.
I like the more neutral colors. I don't like the green on the floor, but I do like the, what is that, white, yellow on the floor there.
Oh yeah, it's just gray on the brown.
Yeah,
Yeah, that looks nice.
I'd prefer that over.
I don't like that at all.
You don't like it at all?
Nope.
Just all brown on the floor?
Well, we could just do all gray, or it could be the inverse of this.
I thought oh gosh, I'm not gonna remember, but I felt like there was like one of the places we went said if you have the lighter floor, then they jam pencils into the floor
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. I don't know.
I like the dark floor. I like the dark brown floor. Did the subcommittee talk about colors or anything?
So we looked at the floor and we didn't see the renderings of the dark floor. So the only renderings we saw were the light color with the green and blue accents. And we had requested visuals on the darker floor.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the green on the light or the green on the dark, especially the green on the dark. That looks weird. I like the dark flooring though. just plain dark flooring, like not.
I was gonna say, I'm
non-accented.
not,
I don't think we need to accent it in the classrooms. I think classrooms are small enough. You don't need to accent it.
and if you have the accent wall color,
You're saying all solid.
All solid brown on the floor,
Oh, okay.
and then just
Oh,
each
that's
room
like
can
a
have its own
brownish.
color, whatever, blue, green. Yeah, it's gonna
Okay.
be busy enough in there. Yeah.
Great.
Do you have samples of this brown color?
Yes, the brown and the gray, which it's definitely worth picking up the gray and looking at it because there's a lot of texture and kind of variation of hues in it. It's not something that's easily going to be marked up. It's got a lot.
And the brown is dark. I'm gonna prefer a small.
Yeah, I like that brown. I remember seeing it.
I like the gray.
You like the gray?
Yeah, I do. I think it's brighter, and I think yeah.
But what about cleaning it and stuff and
Dark brown matches the texture. Yeah, it looks like, that wood paneling from the 70s.
Yeah, like on your, like on the walls.
We're running out of time.
And I think the gray's varied enough that it won't show the dirt.
It's gray. So cleaning it, it will gray stained. Do you have to worry about staining or anything like that? It will.
Oh no, and no, it's definitely like an easy to clean product, and it's not going to stain.
Okay. Well, we can vote on it for all in agreement.
Gray flooring, no accent?
Gray flooring, no accent. Is that a motion?
Yes.
All in favor for gray flooring, no accent in the classrooms?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Sharon, you voting?
I'm abstaining.
Shannon's abstaining.
And so this is just a view of the science classroom, and so it would be the same, same decision for this floor. And just we have an accent wall like in back of us. This is just the one looking at the front door and the teaching space up front. This isn't. We reviewed this previously with the subcommittee, so this is the same view.
So with the science rooms, though, do we want to do something a little different because it's sciencey? Do we want it to be more industrial looking? Are we okay with?
Pretty industrial.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, a lot of that's going to come in through the epoxy countertop, which is different from the this classroom. See, we have like a nice light countertop,
Okay.
and then the tabletops are the furniture, and that's pretty typical with like steel leg.
All right.
Everyone's good to laminate and counter colors, right?
Yeah.
And then here's outside of the classroom spaces, this breakout commons. This image also was shown previously. And here is really where we're doing a little more geometry with the floor color. And then the wall with the leaves on it is really just meant to represent a wall where we have an opportunity to have a graphic. So that could be, your STEAM graphic or some sort of, a theme of some, different educational idea.
Would there be value, and this is for educators, where that like whiteboard is? What's more valuable, like a whiteboard or a display, like an area
If
for
you-
display projects?
A whiteboard would be great if you're going to use it for like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also remember you're going to be seeing a 6-foot fence out that window. Keep that in mind.
Four, yeah.
That's a ways down the hill.
No, it's pretty close. It's not that nice tree.
And the last space is just the bathrooms. So poured epoxy floors, which transitions into a base, a nice cove, easy for cleaning. So it's just one cohesive material, seamless. And then on the wet wall with the fixtures, we're just carrying ceramic tile up 7 feet. Our thought is, keep it light, like the main walls where we're just having white, but we'll do like a nice dark grout color that'll hold up, won't show any dirt and grime. Maybe carrying the paint up top, or we could even just do a solid full wall of paint on the back. Bring some color in here. The partitions, just a through body color, durable. Something dark gray. Something that if it gets scratched, it's gonna it's just going to be the same color throughout, something that's going to hold up. And then we got a linear light on the ceiling.
So
I think the white above the tile is better with the linear light there.
Mhm.
I'd worry if there was a color, it might show out every imperfection.
Yeah.
Said the design subcommittee was not a fan of the large white wall.
Oh, on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Makes sense.
Um,
This is one of those spaces, right? Like coming off of a potentially school color branded Main Street into a blue bathroom. I don't know. I might be overthinking though. Right? Like, is that like one of those spaces that it's going to be like in contrast?
I
Those
think
two
I think
themes?
all the colors are gonna have to be questioned that we haven't really agreed on.
I think we could maybe demonstrate with a view how actually, especially with this option, if this is what we select, this wall here, you kind of have to come around a corner. So I think that with like the sight line of the different, walls coming into the bathroom would likely block this color. So we could try to show a view of that.
Okay.
And having just like that's just a regular wall, like gypsum.
Yeah, gypsum wall, and the paint is actually going to be epoxy.
So is there, John? Do we worry about just a plain wall in a bathroom, a boys' bathroom,
What kind of wall?
like a gypsum wall, like,
Oh, yeah. In a bathroom, gypsum wall, yeah.
like
But
bad or
it's
good?
with that on the left side?
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna cost more if we tile it.
Okay, but what about maintaining? Like, do you have to patch holes often in those walls?
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Like, do we want to put that plastic?
Well, we could, there is,
What's that plastic paneling that they put in?
that stuff is too, it looks too industrial.
Or brick or tile?
What if we could use abuse-resistant sheetrock maybe in there? You can't. That stuff is durable. It's expensive, but it's durable. Or we could tile it. If we just put regular sheetrock in there, it won't be a problem. Definitely will be a problem eventually. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Occasionally. They do make, can we do that? Use abuse-resistant sheetrock in a few
But what's
places?
the stuff?
Oh, that's what's in there? Oh, if that's
With-
abuse.
with epoxy paint.
you
But
can't-
Yeah.
what's
You
the
can't.
school we were touring where they had their whatever that box room thing is that they called?
Black Box Theater.
Yeah, they had the theater and the wall was getting destroyed and they had to put that plastic paneling on there.
Colchester.
Yeah, it was in Colchester. They had FRP everywhere over there.
Yeah.
So.
So-
They had it on the doors.
So we have these gyp walls. These are in the academic wings where you have gyp on this unprotected wall. But off Main Street, the public restrooms and also the locker rooms, it's CMU walls, so we won't have an issue. But these are abuse plus really durable paint.
So when
Sure.
kids are horsing around the bathroom and one gets pushed into the wall, they're not gonna make a hole in it?
No.
No, they'll just have a concussion.
Not that that would ever happen at middle school.
So, what did we agree on with the actual partitions? Just plastic partitions? Is it,
Yeah, it's like a solid through body color surface partition.
plastic, hard plastic?
Plastic.
Yeah. It's not the metal or anything, okay.
Partition like the stalls, you mean?
It's not phenolic though. That stuff's,
The stalls are made out of plastic? Not like aluminum or metal?
it's heavy, it's very heavy.
Oh, like a composite?
It's really durable.
The color goes all the way through.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the color gets scratched off.
Or
And they
it
get
rusts.
scratched in
And it
onto
rusts,
and.
Color of what
And
though?
cost, yeah.
Like metal's metal. What color you mean?
Well, that's probably like they've picked a gray color that they're showing us.
Yeah, you can get it like a stainless steel or zinc finish.
Okay. As long as it doesn't break.
That would be.
So I think we're good on the wall though.
Yeah.
This is abuse resistant.
Okay. All right.
And I'm gonna run.
Yeah. 5
Do you
minutes.
want to look at your agenda? and
Yeah,
start
gonna run through the
labeling things?
gonna run through this quick.
'Cause we're not gonna-
I don't think
For
we have
here,
much
it's,
left.
CDs are due next Friday. For early procurement, this is a little different than you've seen. So we're in the document review and approval. So we got to get a couple of additional items up to the state this week that we're working on. And you can see out here, this is approximately when the early procurement package will be delivered based on the current delivery schedule. Thanks, Joe. And then meetings and data. Oh. So we've completed security meetings. This was as of the last meeting. We met with the building inspector and fire marshal and health department during the site plan review. We had the Eversource model review back on the 23rd already, and materials presentations that we've been talking about. And then data gathering, we've completed the soil sampling. We're expecting the results to come this week. And then the investigative work for the other phase 1 ESA is in progress, and the topo survey as well, the additional topo survey. And next steps, so we got approved for planning and zoning last night, completing the construction documents, and then into August will be third-party code review, the threshold review, CD cost estimate, and early procurement package bids.
No questions.
Okay. Next.
Let's go right to Newfield. I do want to find out if we had any movement on the early procurement process stuff.
So, as Joe mentioned, we still haven't gotten approval from the state. We owe them a couple of I don't know, minor revisions.
Okay.
That
Are we
is
meeting
just
with them
slightly
again?
behind schedule.
Do you have to meet with them again?
No.
Okay.
No. And then everything else, we're on schedule. Drawings CDs will be delivered at the end of the month, and we'll start the estimates.
We're still looking at a January.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else you wanted to bring up tonight?
That's all I have for now.
Okay. Thank you. And then we missed your Valley Management, the operable windows. We had to go back and vote for that under Perkins. So just going backward again to the Perkins Eastman report, there's a value management option that we should vote on, which is removing the operable windows because no one in the town feels we need them. So I'll take a motion to approve removing those operable windows. Or
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Anyone abstaining? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. And then, Emily, we have to approve invoices?
We do, and I just wanted to touch base, the essence of time in the project updates. Just wanted to point out that we got our grant letters, but you will see that the middle school is actually at a higher amount than the approved referendum amount.
I know, they approved the wrong amount.
They have, and what we're doing is we are carrying it below the budget line. I've included a full-blown budget for the middle school. We've listed it as grant variance amount of a referendum. $799,717 is the higher amount that the grant came in over. I've double-checked. The emails that I sent over to Michelle had the correct amounts. I do not know why they gave that higher amount either.
We're still restricted to the amount approved at
We're by the referendum, but yes, but if in any case you were to go back, that's the amount that the state has. So you would already have that. You would
But we're
just
not
have
going
to go
back.
here. Yes, exactly. And also I wanted to point out that the letter that was sent out for the central office was not signed by by Ms. Lasauskas. I have sent that back to Michelle. She has replied back via phone call and email that the letter will get signed and then get resent to Dr. Macri.
Okay.
Otherwise, we are maintaining course and speed with all of the adjustments, all the contingencies. The last part of this would be to approve invoices in the total amount of $258,219.70. There. It's two for Newfield for pre-construction services, one for Arcadis for both the middle school and central admin, and one for Perkins Eastman for both central admin and Cromwell Middle School. All of these have been reviewed and approved by Jack. So where it should be.
And the architectural services include the additional for the work done on the cost estimate, or is that a separate line item?
It's
Does that
for,
include that or not? That $4,000?
yes, the 4,480 is the final cost for the renovation design. So what I did is we've totaled the full amount. I took both of their invoices and created one grand amount. I've also sent to Perkins accountant a model as to how it is, because the town only has one contract for both projects, and for auditing purposes, it makes it easier if we're all staying within that one purchase order. We're not going to be issuing purchase orders for all different increases.
Okay.
What injuries are you referring to? Soils testing?
No, they did some work to do that. If we needed an estimate to the renovation option.
Yeah.
So on the Perkins Eastman invoice, it has a total invoice of $230,839.
Plus the 4,480.
Okay, that's separate somewhere in here.
It's literally the last page in the packet.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
we totaled both of them together, and the concept study was split between the middle school and central admin. So we've already done that calculation and kind of compiled them both together.
Okay. I thought the quote came down from that 44,000. Maybe not. No, never mind. That was the one that did come down.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I gotcha. I'm good. So I'll take a motion to approve the total invoice amount of, let me go back, $258,219.70 split between central admin and Cromwell Middle School as detailed on this report Arcadis provided.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Anyone abstaining? Motion carries. Okay, we got, oh, what time is it? We got 3 minutes. Anyone have any last minute anything they want to bring up?
I just had some other quick notes from the design subcommittee just to make sure everyone's on the same page. We did not see any renderings of the main office, nurses suite, band, chorus, robotics, art, coding, self-contained classrooms, or sensory rooms. So we don't have any recommendations for the design.
Are we getting those renderings?
We typically won't render every space. We'll come up with themes. We'll pick the classrooms which repeat themselves.
I think the big
umpteen
ones like the
times.
band room would probably make sense, no?
Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted it to be documented that we
nursery
did not
rhyme.
see those spaces.
Yeah, plus we're, I mean, if there's a space that you really want to see, that's important. We can definitely render that up. But I think at this point we're still establishing colors and themes.
And then we move on to central office because I'm sure that the adults want their own adult coloring.
Yes, I think the colors are picked or are in progress.
Basically like going with like a neutral
Yep.
carpet color.
Beautiful gray blue. Put a beautiful gray wall in the offices.
And what we can do is at least have like a palette
Yeah.
slide that we can show, because it's really just gonna be, for the.
Does the building committee need to vote on the colors for central office, or just gonna or should we just let them? How's that work?
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. So if we can have that next
Yeah,
time.
yeah, like I said, often we won't render those smaller spaces, but we will bring samples and colors and talk about what walls are painted, what the floors look like.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last thing was that above the marquee for the auditorium, Perkins Eastman gave us some renderings that included a metal falcon that kind of jutted out from the wall and created a really neat visual. So the design subcommittee would like to recommend moving forward in that, provided that it fits within our original budget and doesn't cost us a fortune.
Yeah, I don't think we need to vote on that either until we find out how much it is.
Nope, just wanted it
I
in the
liked it
record.
too. It was nice.